Welcome to the Nuts and Bolts of Real Estate. My name is Joe Bauer, and I'm here with my co-host, Julie Clark. Julie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Joe. Was just telling you and Pete that I've broke out the flannel for the first, serious cold pinch here in the Seattle area. And other than that, it's a normal day in the Clark household with Katie forgetting her huge homework project that she has to present today. So we're getting started a little late. Thanks again for you guys' flexibility. But I'm super stoked that we have Pete, our new friend Pete, here with us today. And guys, today we're going to talk about land flipping with our new friend Pete Reese from RealVest Properties. Land flipping is growing in popularity. I'm starting to hear about it more and more. And we are going to be super lucky to get a jump start from Pete today, who's already knee deep in the action on that front. Joe, I didn't let you say what you're up to. Why don't we let you say what you're up to? I'm too excited. I'm too excited to talk to Pete. And I also am still thinking about Katie forgetting her homework. So I'm a little off today. Sorry, guys.
It's all good. Well, welcome, Pete. It's good to have you on.
Thanks. Great to be here.
Yeah. Just so everybody knows, I'm in Salt Lake City, and our drama for the day is that, as most people know, we're trying to sell our van and get a new one. And we've been trying to get a little bit of work done as a buyer is supposed to fly in on Saturday. And we were told we were going to go get a new strut that was needed. And we showed up Mercedes and they're like, oh, no, sorry, we can't even get that until like Friday or Monday. And I'm like, well, you told us that to show up today and it was going to be ready. So we're just like pulling our hair out trying to get these last minute things buttoned up. So there's my drama, but
life on
all
the
else
road.
is good.
Pete, you got any drama you want to share with us so we can let it all
Always
out?
drama. Always drama. I have three girls myself, and their ages 12, 20, and 22, but there's no shortage of drama in my house. I've got two dogs, which are girls as well, and I'm completely outnumbered in my house, but that's okay.
Well, I always find the girl dads are the best guys. So, all right.
We try.
Well, let's do it. Let's jump into it, and we'll let Joe kick it off. Well, actually, we need to get to know Pete before we do that. I was checking out your website there, Pete, and I'm just going to say it looks like you've been knee deep in the real estate for a long time, and it looks like you've handled all kinds of real estate transactions besides this land flipping. So. Let us know. Tell us about that more.
Sure. I'll try to give you the cliff notes, because if I went through each individual piece, it might be here for a whole hour just talking about that. But I got my start in real estate in about the year 2000. And like anyone else, or a lot of people at least, got my start kind of buying our own single family primary residence, and hold it for about 2 years and did okay on it, and ended up with a chunk of change, $50,000 or something like that at the end of that. And I was like, well, this is great. I can do that. I can repeat that, and seemed kind of easy. So we bought another house and did well on that. And then we started getting into flipping homes for a while there. And this is before the real estate crash of 2007, 8, wherever that was. But we did really well on that until the real estate market crashed on us. So we decided to get out of flipping homes. And prior to that, I had actually gotten my real estate broker's license in California in about 2006. So I started dealing. I got it initially just to kind of save some commissions on my own deals I was doing and get more access to some of the listings when they came out. But then I started representing other people and kind of got sucked into that whole world. But it was kind of a blessing in disguise, actually, when the real estate market crashed, because it was kind of a ticket to earn an income when a lot of people and a lot of real estate investors were having a pretty tough time. I started actually working with banks from the REO side of things, listing properties for banks, and took that on as my niche for 2-3 years, I guess. And those were the properties that were selling at that time, and they were really hot. And I still got to work with investors, but I was the listing broker on those. Got into short sale listings for quite some time, did that for another 2 or 3 years or so. And then, which was another great niche at the time, that was what was selling. And so I learned a lot during that phase of things. Then I started just kind of finding deals for investors. So working with a lot of larger investment companies and just kind of drumming up deals for them, mostly off of the MLS. And I knew what they were looking for, knew what they wanted to see. So I was able to bring them deals and kind of create value in that way. But again, I was just earning commissions during that time, and I wasn't doing a lot of deals myself. And then a couple of years ago, really got, I knew I wanted to get into kind of the investor side of things, because that's always been kind of my passion, really. and then kind of stumbled into this land flipping thing, and it just sort of kind of took on a life of its own. And for the last 2 years, it's been 100% of my focus is flipping land.
Nice.
And
you say, so you're a master of the pivot. That's for sure.
Yes. Pivoting. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. I also
consider myself a master of the pivot. It's really fun too, right? It's like more fun in order to, I agree. How did you stumble into land flipping though? I like those words, stumbled into it.
Yeah. I was just kind of, I was putting out that energy that I wanted to get back into the investment world side of things, and reading a lot of things, kind of doing a lot of research. And I didn't really want to get into flipping homes again because I knew that was kind of a red ocean, as they put it. There's a lot of competition in that area. I knew what I was doing, but I also didn't like managing projects and contractors. And that's kind of a tough spot right now, I think. But regardless, read something about land flipping. And I thought, well, that sounds kind of interesting. I always thought land was kind of one of those things where it takes a long time to sell, and you might do really well. Like you might kind of hit a home run and if you buy a property right and able to resell it, but it's always going to take a long time. And it's not, the cash flow is not quite there like it is on something like flipping homes. And so I read something on it from one of there's a couple of companies out there that kind of have some training in that area. So I read something on that, and it kind of got sucked down to this whole rabbit hole. And I was seeing kind of anecdotes of people saying, "Oh, I bought this property for $10,000 and I sold it for $30,000." And I thought, well, that's pretty good. I would love to do some of those, buy something for $10,000, sell it for $30,000. So I was talking to my wife, Heather, about it, and I was like, "Hey, do you think I should look into this a little bit more?" They have a training course and things. So I was like, "What, does it sound interesting to you?" And she's like, yeah, it sounds interesting. I think you'd be good at it. So I bought a training course on that, kind of really dove in for about 90 to 120 days trying to learn everything I could. In the meantime, I started implementing the model, and it's kind of all predicated on sending out direct mail. You send out direct mail and offers to property owners, and then you see what comes back.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I myself feel like I have interest in it, right? I don't like flipping and all that stuff. Been down kind of the same similar path and story a little bit as you. And again, it's my interest peaked. Like I said, I've heard a little bit more, it's not like people haven't been talking about land flipping for a while. I don't know what it is on why all of a sudden there's this new resurgence of chatter about it, but luckily we have you here today to help us understand a little bit more of it so people can consider it for themselves. I do have one question where did the name RealVest come from? What's the story behind that?
I wish I had some sort of great story. I was looking for something short that kind of sounded like real estate or realty or something like that. I own another domain that I was at one time going to build a business off of that. It was called Realty, but it's all E's, realty.com. So I was like, I could do something kind of similar to that. And then that's where I came up with RealVest. People have thought, well, maybe I'm really a big fisherman or something like that, but no. Like
well, you might be
rod and reel type thing, but
if you pick up the right properties, you might end up being a great fisherman if there's some water.
Yeah, that's right. Fishing for deals.
That's right. So what percentage of your business land flipping today then?
Land flipping is in my entire business at this point. Okay. Now, I do kind of preface that as saying that like some of the properties are more of a development play than rather a short-term flip, but it's pretty much all land that we're buying. And sometimes we end up with houses actually, but we thought it was, or at least we contacted the property owner initially because we just thought it was a vacant piece of land. But
do you guys have a niche type of property that you go after? Are you looking for, has it be a minimum of 5 acres and have a road within, tell us about that. How do you decide where you're going to market? You have a list. I assume you pull a list. What are the parameters of a list that you pull? What are you looking for?
Yeah. All good questions here. And that's kind of evolved over time. So it really, right now, kind of what we're looking for is primarily we focused on larger properties. When I say larger, I say we're looking for properties mostly 25 acres or more in kind of rural areas and areas that are maybe 1 to 2 hours outside of a major population or a city area. Something that's not too rural, but something where there's activity and there's some growth in those areas. And yeah, we pull our lists we use a company called DataTree. It's actually a company owned by First American, and they keep property records on all the different properties in the United States. And we kind of filter our lists by the criteria that we like. We'll pick certain counties that we like in certain states, obviously, and certain acreage ranges. And then we filter out things that are not properties that we'll ever be able to buy. Some properties owned by municipalities, cities, railroad or utilities, things like that. So we kind of scrub all those things out of the list. And then we send out a lot of direct mail. And when I say a lot of direct mail, right now we're probably sending out maybe 50,000 letters a month at this point.
Wow.
Yeah. So a good amount. So we send out a lot of letters, and I know that there are some others, that do land investing like we do, but they'll maybe focus on more of a targeted list. They'll spend more time and effort in kind of whittling their list down to kind of like their absolute ideal property, and maybe send out less mail, but maybe they get a higher response rate from that list.
Sure.
Sometimes you just never know what's going to hit. So I'm kind of a big, I know that the amount of mail that I send out or the money that I spend on mail will come back to me, multiple times. So I'm not as concerned with that.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. It looks like Julie just dropped off here. So
don't know what happened. My computer just started buzzing and then it just shut down. I don't know if it's super windy here today or what, but hey, thanks. Sorry about that. It makes it more exciting, right, guys?
That's right.
Real life, right? All right.
So,
well, let's keep rolling here. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. So, I was just going over kind of how we build our list to who we send out for. And at this point, we're looking for a certain acreage range, but we're looking at properties or areas that are within 1 to 2 hours of kind of major population areas. The other thing that's kind of important is making sure that there is activity in those areas, because there's a lot of rural areas in this country, and there are some areas where there are just not that many transactions happening.
Right.
There are some here and there, but they're kind of dead real estate markets. Not dead, but they're not as active as you want it to be. So I'm looking for areas where there's activity. And even if there is an overabundance of, say, listings to solds, say I look at an area and I see, one particular county or something, I see 100 sales within the past 12 months that are 25 acres or more. But then I see 200 listings within that range. I mean, that's generally not a good ratio. But the fact that there's 100 sales is actually a pretty good indicator that it's a pretty active market. So I know that as long as I pick up as long as I get a decent property and I pick it up for a really good price, then I'll be able to put it on the market and list it under, where the comparable sales are, and I'll still be able to get a sale pretty quickly.
Are you actually, you're closing on these, right? And then you're relisting them? Yeah.
Yeah, so exactly. And yeah, we buy them. We buy them with cash, and then we close them and then resell them, put them on the market with normally a local broker, and then resell them right away. A lot of times we'll do things, minor things to the property. Say we'll do perk tests, or we'll get a survey done, or we'll do some clearing for some access, something along those lines, kind of polishing the property up a little bit and make it retailable.
Yeah. And I guess maybe the easier question. So the agents are going to the property. It's not all just an online, they actually physically need to go there. And, I would think aerials or the photos, and maybe there's some other shots, but I guess the easier way might be say, what will you not buy? What will you not buy? And
that's a good question. I kind of have established a criteria of things that I'm not going to buy based off of mistakes I've made in the past. Now, I've knock on wood at this point, I've never lost money on any of these deals, and we've done many at this point. But it's pretty much now I will never buy a landlocked property, and I have in the past, and I actually made money with it. It was just a really big hassle. They take a long time to sell.
When you say landlocked, you mean there's no roads to the property?
No roads to the property and no legal access. Sometimes we'll buy a property where it says on the deed, hey, there's a 60-foot right of way leading through, Tom Jones's property to the main county road, something like that. And those are fine because that's deeded right of way access, and that's good. And we can work with that. We can get that access, cleared and everything like that. But if there's actually a lot of properties out there, and this is surprising to me when I first got started. There's a lot of properties out there that have no legal access, like none. There's no road, there's no path, there's no, it just got, these properties got subdivided around them over time, and maybe by the way the roads went in that area, and they just kind of ended up on an island by themselves.
Care if there's like any type of water or electricity? Obviously, you can sell it for more probably if there's something stubbed in, but does that stop you?
In most cases, no. Most of the areas though do have electricity running through there. Within somewhat nearby access, most of the properties end up having to have a well anyhow. So I'm not as concerned with that. Most of them do not have sewer access unless on the off chance I'm buying something, within a small town or something like that. So, if someone's going to build on the property, which building in a lot of these cases means putting a mobile or manufactured home. That's what a lot of the buyers end up doing in these areas. So the important thing is to get a septic or perk test, and that kind of allows them to have a waste disposal system on site. Some of these properties, solar is getting to be a bigger and bigger thing. Solar with on-site battery storage, and then they drill a well, and that's it. But legal access is very important.
Hey guys, it's Julie here with a quick break from the show to discuss an opportunity some of you may have interest in, which is to work more closely with me. On almost a daily basis, I get calls from investors and brokers, both new and experienced, asking me for guidance or advice. I love helping you guys out, and it keeps me on my toes too. So with that said, I wanted to let you know that I have a private broker coaching community called the VIP Education Community. And the best part is that it's 100% free. That's right, it's free to join. So whether you're a traditional broker or a broker investor, my VIP education community offers personalized one-on-one coaching from not just me, but also from my experienced broker friends with expertise in all disciplines of real estate and real estate investing. We'll teach and share our modern marketing strategies, our tech and lead generation resources, plus teach you how to identify or offer up opportunities for yourself or for your clients using techniques such as seller financing, lease options, land entitlement deals, BRRRR investing, flipping, multifamily or commercial coaching, whatever you like. We've got it all covered for you. The future of real estate is changing fast, and to stay in the game, it's time to learn about all the options you can offer your buyer and seller clients, as well as, if you want, learn how to use those skills to grow your own real estate portfolio. If you'd like more details about joining my VIP education community, reach out to me at julie@seattleinvestorsclub.com or text me at 206-910-2985 or just send me a Facebook message. My new favorite phrase is community equals confidence. So let's navigate the future of real estate together. Now, back to the show.
So one of the things I've heard that's hot on these properties is just purely recreational use, where they want to ride their ATVs or whatever, and go mudding through the property or whatever they want to do, right?
That's right. Yeah. And that's a large pool of our buyers as well, end up being just for recreational purposes.
I was going to ask you, who are the buyers of these properties? What's the profile of a buyer? I mean, do you have a certain tranche of properties that are most likely to be built or used for some residential purpose? And, the other is just the recreational, I don't know, which one's more risky? Actually, is to purchase on your part? Is it the recreational, not necessarily going to be a build on there? Or is it, where somebody's got to actually go through the due diligence of making sure it's buildable?
Yeah, that's a good question. Honestly, the ones that are riskier are the ones that are too small to be recreational. So they have only one play, which would be a residential home site type property.
Right.
And those, you kind of just have to dot your I's and cross your T's. You've got to make sure that you're going to be able to get a septic system there or tie into a sewer if you're close enough to a city or town or whatever. Yep. And that's kind of the main stumbling block in a lot of these. And, in a lot of these jurisdictions, it's really not. Southern California is a whole different thing. Like if I was trying to do this around here, I'd have to go through a lot of due diligence to make sure. If I was going to buy a property that's just a home site only, I'd go through a lot of due diligence before I closed on just to make sure it's buildable. But in a lot of these areas that we deal in, it's a little bit easier, or it's a lot easier to build in those areas. So the main thing is septic. And then you're going to have some sort of water source and electricity. Obviously, you could take care of with solar if there's no electricity nearby. But a lot of them do have electricity nearby. So to me, those are the higher risk ones, and the ones that there's a lot of money to be made in those type of properties. But I shy away from them because I like having kind of maybe a dual exit strategy. Obviously, a certain property, if it's a nice property, it would be a great home site if they wanted it, but it might also be a great recreational property.
Yeah. How much are you trying to pick these up for, like on the dollar? Like if you think, okay, I can resell this for 90,000 or whatever the number is, 50,000, what's your goal to pick it up for?
Mm-hmm. Well, we try to double our money.
Okay.
So
good.
That's
Simple.
kind of my back of the napkin. If we double our money, that's great. Is that reality all the time? No, but if we buy something for 50,000 and net 75 at the end of the day, that's still a really good return, especially when you consider that our average hold time is about 60 days.
Yeah, let's go through like a deal. So you've pulled your list, you know what your niche is, you use direct mail to generate your leads, it sounds like. Not any online. Do you use any type of PPC type of? No,
probably an area that I should get involved with, PPC, SEO. Some things like that. But at this point, it's 100% direct mail. And you push them to your website, or? They either come in a number of different ways. We send them a letter with an actual offer amount and, a little bit about our company and the fact that, they can check us out on our website. But a lot of them will just call, and we have a call center that helps us deal with the incoming calls. And then I have a team that kind of takes over from there and works the leads. Awesome. So, what's, with flipping or whatever, single family, the direct mail, went way down there for a while as far as the response rate. I don't know if obviously I think it's probably picking up these days a little bit more, but what is the direct mail response, considering you were a guy that's done all this other business before, much higher with the land than it would be, that you think, for the average investor looking for a flip? Right. Yeah, I think so. Definitely. I mean, the approach is a little different because we're actually offering people a specific offer amount on their property. And I think that's interesting to some people. We get some people calling and saying, oh, you're offering way too low and I would never sell it for that. And it's been my family for 100 years and that's fine. Obviously it's not going to work for all people, but certain people that are sitting on a piece of land that they've never been to, that they may be inherited, that they're paying taxes on every year. It's kind of a nuisance. They may not even live in the same state where this property is located in. It's appealing to them to maybe to just kind of go that route, sell it to someone like us who will close on it quickly, and then we won't hassle them about any details or getting anything done to the property before we close. We'll buy it as is, and it'll be our problem, not your problem. Yeah. But let's go through it. We're also not going to be the top dollar. So are you finding you have competition these days as this is? Yeah, there are competitors out there. Yeah. But I think that there are a lot of different ways to kind of run a land flipping business. There are lots of different investors have sort of different niches that evolve over time. Some people really like doing the inexpensive properties. When I say inexpensive, they may buy a property for $500 and sell it for $1,500. That's a great return on investment. Obviously, you're tripling your money, but it's tough to really make substantial income off of that unless you're doing a super high volume. There are other land investors. Flippers too. I mean, not flippers, wholesalers trying to tie them up and assign them. Exactly. Yeah. There are not as many wholesalers though that really understand land. So I get approached by wholesalers a lot, and a lot of times they're overvalued in what they're trying to ask for a property. So I'd love to deal with wholesalers. I wish there was more of a thriving market for that, but it just hasn't really developed at this point. Take us through a typical due diligence. So a lead lands on your desk that's ready to roll. You've sent them an offer. They say, yeah, I'll take that. You have a contingency. You got to sign the contract right away. And then you just have a contingency on and out for your review for, 7 days or something like that. Yeah. So we'll close on these properties as soon as we can get clear title and we finish our due diligence. Normally what we're waiting for is the title in a lot of these states. It just takes some time for them to research it and everything. And as much as we push to get these things closed, a lot of them end up being, 3 to 4 weeks, somewhere in that range. So I've got a system built now where all this stuff is on autopilot in my team. As soon as we get a property under contract, it gets assigned to the attorney or the title company that'll start the title work. Got a team member that orders the photography on the property. So we always send out a photographer to the property. Generally, it's a drone photographer that also kind of specializes in evaluating land. So they'll go out to the property, drone photos. They'll also walk the property on the ground, try to find out where the corners are, and write up a little bit of an inspection report. At the same time, too, we're also building relationships with local land brokers, especially the areas that we deal in a lot. We're talking to them even before we get them under contract a lot of times and saying, hey, give us your opinion on this property.
Are you engaging though a separate photographer to go to the property? You're not engaging the agent yet until you think it's a deal. I mean, they might be doing a desk analysis, but you're not having the agent go out and take photos. You have like a separate photographer, and you have your own title.
Yeah, we pay for.
Yeah, do you know the title
exactly?
company?
Yeah, we have our we pay for a photographer to go out to every property. So sometimes a property may not work for title reasons or something else, but so that's kind of a sunk cost. We pay for that. But the agents generally don't go out to the property until it's about to close or somewhere in that range. But they'll give us a desktop evaluation, and we're comfortable enough now that we know what properties are going to work and what is not going to work based off of what we see on the photos and all the research that we can do.
So are you just looking for the normal? Is there anything specific on land deals in regards to title that, obviously we're looking for if the seller is actually the seller and their name on title correctly and all the normal, I'll call it real estate agent checks. But as far as the land deal goes, what are you zeroing in on the title report that is going to give you, your green light to continue moving forward?
Right. I mean, we kind of look for red flags. Maybe there's some sort of weird easement that we didn't know about. Maybe there's some restrictions on the property that, say we're buying something that we thought was going to be a great recreational property, but, then there's something in the deed that comes up during the title search that says, oh, you can't ride ATVs here or something like that. So we look for those type of things that could throw kind of a big wrench in the gears for the resale side of things.
How much does like a perk test or clearing cost typically?
Yeah, I'd say a general, most properties would be somewhere in the range of like $800. $800 to $1,000. It's not terrible, but it is an expense and something that we, comes out of our bottom line. And then clearing that's kind of all over the board. I'd say kind of like an average clearing cost where we're, cutting some trails through a property or something like that, maybe $3,000-$4,000.
So do you feel, what's your average profit margin on these deals?
Average deal right now is we're making about $22,000 per property.
Not bad.
So I'm trying to bump that up. It's, by buying bigger and more expensive properties. And obviously that will get my average deal size up. And it's kind of a factor too of, some properties are really good. And then some properties were just over break even. That's rare. And I try to learn from those mistakes, but there are some where I've purchased and really haven't made much of anything from them. So the whole exercise was kind of a waste in that way. But I do feel like I've learned some from every single one of those times it's happened, and it hadn't happened that many times. But when it has happened, I try to learn from that and not repeat that same mistake twice.
Are you guys just using your own cash or using hard money or private money, or what are you doing?
We're using our own cash, but in this business, there are actually people that will partner with you on deals. So there are people that kind of come in as bring the money and you bring the deal, and then you kind of split the profits.
Is that a 50-50
so I don't
situation, or is
that generally
is that
50-50
or a loan?
It's actually, they all work in a little bit of different ways. So sometimes they'll take title with you jointly if you bring on a partner. Sometimes they'll take title, but then you get an agreement signed ahead of time that, you split the profits, or 60-40 split on profits, or whatever arrangement that you make.
So this is all just ordinary income, right? I mean, right? Kind of like it's flipping and all that other stuff. So what are you doing now that you're making piles of cash, which sounds like you've probably been doing well the whole time? What do you invest in order for cash flow? This is more like capital. This is like not cash flow, right? Or do you ever
Yeah.
actually, do you ever keep these properties and lease them out? I mean, that sounds like a really great strategy on some of these cheap ones. Like, I don't know if there's a way to, do a land lease or something like that.
Right. Yeah. There's some things I'm looking into as far as generating income off of these properties. And most of them are related to environmental or energy generation, like solar.
Yeah.
I've just gone down this whole rabbit hole the past couple of weeks, actually, of I want to there's a couple of the properties which would be ideal for solar farms. So I want to take those and kind of work on those as long-term projects and turn them into solar farms. But,
I think as the world continues to have this environmental issues and all these other things, aside from what we're talking about, there is water with natural water running through it. Right?
Yes.
Wasn't it Ted Turner 10 years ago, maybe, that started buying up, not only him, but here in our own backyard, Bill Gates is buying up, lots of people buying up all these farmlands, but, properties with natural water running through them for, I think are considered high value properties, or maybe there's something going on there, right? With some natural water. Do you ever, what do you think about that? If there's a stream or there's a river or something running through there, is that a benefit or is that a negative due to, I guess it depends on the deal for setbacks, if anybody's building, or there's probably so many niches of land.
Oh, yes. There's a lot of things to consider, and it kind of depends on what the intended use of the property is going to be. If it's going to be something that's that you're going to build upon, or your end buyer is going to build upon, you have to take that into consideration. Are you going to be crossing a stream, or you've got the setbacks for the septic system or setbacks for the house? But if it's going to be a recreational property, a lot of time that's viewed very favorably. If there's a stream or a river frontage or something like that, obviously that's really cool for a lot of those buyers. So it just kind of depends. So.
What's the most you've spent on a purchase so far of a property?
Yeah, biggest deal we've done, land one, is purchased it for $315,000.
That's a lot.
Sold it for $595,000.
And that was what kind of property was it? Was it going to be developed, or was it?
I'd say just a kind of a recreational or timber investment property. It was 600 some acres. Yeah, really cool. It looked great from the pictures. I didn't go to the property ever. But,
that is awesome.
Yeah, but it was a really cool property, and one of those that I look back on and I'm like, well, probably should have held that one. But what are you going to do? Can't
what are you looking going forward? I mean, the market's changed. I assume that's even better for you now with this, inflation and everything that's going on in the market. What are your goals for the next 12 months with land flipping, or whatever else you're going to do in your business to take advantage of this fluctuation in the market?
Well, I always have I don't know if you can see, I keep a whiteboard where I keep all my numbers back there, and I'm big on tracking monthly statistics and everything. And I'm trying to hit 4 million in revenue. And this is our second year in the land flipping business, and almost at about 50% gross margin on the deals.
Nice.
So I'm trying to hit 4 million this year, and next year I think 10 million is very realistic. And I'm just going to keep chugging away at those goals. And as you were talking about a little bit, there's the kind of cash short-term hold type side of things, and then there's the longer term wealth type building type things in real estate. And I want to kind of work on some projects that are going to be long-term and really value add projects, such as solar farms or other similar type projects like that. So
cool.
That's what I like to get into.
I would imagine there are like big buyers looking for that sort of, almost like we call, like I would say like an iBuyer, like a hedgy fund type of buyer.
Yes.
That would like to snatch up those. Are there hedge?
Yeah, there's big money, and they pay premiums for those projects. Now,
right.
Depending on the area, you could be looking at 2 to 5 years to kind of get to that point where you actually have the actual solar farm built. But once you get to that point, there's money waiting there to actually either fund your development or cash you out of the deal altogether.
Oh, so are you saying that there is like, in development, let's say, of apartment buildings, right? There's the guys and gals that buy and build, but there's also the guys and gals that just entitle the deals, right? Mm-hmm. And then they sell them. So the entitlement process huge profit margins available there for the entitlement process. You don't actually have to build it, right? You get all the permits.
Yep.
But I guess in that business, it would be hard to know all the nooks and crannies of how to actually properly entitle it for whoever's the end user. It almost seems like unlike an apartment building, it's an easier, entitlement process with permitting and all that. Not as niche, I guess I would say, as what might be needed by some of these developers of, some of these solar or wind or whatever we have going on here.
Right.
Ooh, super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity in that space. I mean, there's huge tax advantages now with the Inflation Reduction Act. It's like a 30% tax credit that you get for anything you spend on these solar projects. And so I know that there's big money and there's people looking for obviously tax advantage situations. And obviously, that they're trying to switch out the grid by 2035 to 100% renewables. And that just means that a lot of stuff has to happen before now and then. So it's kind of like, the rising tide is going to kind of, I think anyone in that field is probably going to do okay, whether they're good at business or not. But,
are you guys closing deals every month then, or what's your?
Oh yes, yeah. My goal is to try to hit 10 per month on average. I think so far this year we're probably at about 7 deals per month.
Nice.
So, and that's resales, and purchases were a little bit higher than that.
That's awesome. That is fantastic. So, how much marketing are you guys pushing out a month? Are you pushing out like 20 grand worth of marketing every month, or plus minus?
Indirect mail?
Yeah.
We're sending out about 50,000 letters per month, which is about $25,000.
Right.
I did some months earlier in the year where I sent out 100,000 pieces of mail, but then I was like, well, I think maybe I can refine my list a little better.
Yeah.
And not spend 50,000, instead spend 25,000 and get a similar result. So it's a balancing.
Is it more of an LOI type of letter, or is it actually a purchase and sale agreement included? So one page.
Yeah, it's a letter on page 1. And then page 2 is an actual purchase agreement with the details on their property, the specific terms. It's a real basic 1-pager deal. Nice. And that's how kind of we close all of our properties.
Computers crashing, all kinds of stuff. Dogs barking. Well, super cool. Well, what's your favorite tool in your biz? And we'll wrap it with that and then let people know how they can follow along, or sure. Maybe even do some deals with you, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, always looking for... I haven't at this point, but I would love to get into maybe some of the bigger deals. And if there are, money partners out there kind of looking for more of a passive thing, but looking to kind of take advantage of the upside in the land market, then obviously it'd be great to talk to you. But my favorite, I guess, as far as a tool goes, my favorite tool that we use in our business would be an app called MapRight. And MapRight is specifically made for the land business. A lot of people that are, land brokers, or maybe in the oil and gas market, or professions that need access to land data all over the country, use the tool. And it's perfect for us because we can, I can sit at my desk here in California and look up any property in the country and get a really, really good idea of what that property is all about without, leaving my computer screen. We could see if there's wetlands there, we could see the contours, we can see if there's a FEMA flood zone, we can get all kinds of different satellite images, and just a wealth of data from that. So I don't know. I think it's about $100 a month or something like that. But for what I do, it's really kind of invaluable.
Which markets are you in?
Most of the stuff we're doing right now is in the Southeast. We've done, we kind of send out sort of test mail to a lot of different areas, which we think could be good. Some of the areas hit and some of them don't. But so I'd say East Coast and Southeast are our main markets right now. A couple things sort of in the Midwest. Also have done stuff in the Pacific Northwest as well, but that's a little too competitive for me. And in California, we've done a couple deals in California, but it's there's challenges in California. But
yeah, California, lots of challenges.
Yes.
Whatever. Well, good stuff. This is awesome. I feel like we could talk to you forever.
Yes, I feel like we could talk forever on this too, but
yeah, we might have to have you come back here and check in with you in like 6 months, see how it's going with this change in the market. Or when you actually reach out to us when you feel like you've kind of tackled a new phase of it with these properties with the solar or whatever you've moved towards, that sort of fun stuff. Because that'll be, you're going to be ahead of the curve for sure. That'll be very, very interesting. So where can everybody get a hold of you and follow along? I think you're starting a podcast soon. Is that right?
Yeah. It's called Turning Profit. So turningprofit.com. And on there will be posted the monthly income reports. And kind of these income reports basically detail the deals that we're doing in our land flipping and developing business, all the purchases we made that month, and the resales that we did, the revenue, gross profit, and lots of other statistics like that. What we learned, maybe what went right, what went wrong, things that we can learn from that we don't repeat. So, and
what's your goal? Do you want to start a coaching business with this, or you want to just do deals with people, or what's
at this point? Yeah, at this point, we don't have any like immediate plans to do any coaching related to land flipping. Just kind of, want to get more. My goal would be to get more exposure to other investors and kind of network as much as possible. So that's the reason for the podcast. And awesome. We've talked about starting one for quite some time, but just haven't, found the time to do it, I guess. But now we're almost there.
I work with an investor that gets deals around the country off market and different business model, but still running into these type of land deals. I have one. It's not a land deal quite, but I can see that it's in North Carolina in an area called Waynesville, North Carolina. Oh. Which, while we're talking, I'm thinking, boy, that'd be a great spot to be looking for some land deals. But
yeah, it is
in mind, yeah. Because they're getting this stuff across the U.S. as well. I actually have something else I'll mention to you offline so we can wrap up today on maybe a way that you can get in getting more leads brought to you on these land deals. So let's talk about that for a second. We'll move that offline here, but this has been super interesting, very hot topic these days. So thanks for, reaching out to us on this topic. And now you're stuck with us because we're going to.
Yeah, that's great. Well,
up.
Yeah, it's been great talking to you guys. And so anytime you want to talk land flipping, I'm game.
Awesome stuff. Anything else you want to add, Mr. Joe Bauer?
Yeah, if you guys want to get to any of the links that we've talked about and actually see them and click them, you can do so at seattleinvestorsclub.com/172. That's seattleinvestorsclub.com/172. And if y'all like this stuff, please hit the like button, consider subscribing. Make sure that you get over to Pete's podcast and subscribe to all that as well. We're all a big happy family here. So thanks for listening.
Good stuff. All right, guys. We'll check you next time.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Hang on for a minute, Pete, because I want to tell you something. All right. See you guys.
All right. See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Seattle Investors Club podcast. If you have questions that you'd like to have answered on the show, shoot us an email at info@seattleinvestorsclub.com. Now go out, take that action, and build that real estate business. Thanks for listening.